The joy isn't only in accomplishment, right? There is that joy, that moment where you've achieved your goal, right? We set out to get this banner to the Trump rally, and we got it to the Trump rally, and mission was accomplished. We got it to the Trump rally. But there's also that moment when you're in the heat of it, when you haven't fully achieved your goal, but things are going well, when the train is moving ahead, right? You haven't reached your destination yet, but the train is going at full speed. And that is a very satisfying feeling as well, right? And I would say that's almost the height of satisfaction. When you have achieved your goal, that is almost that's the post. That's we can rest. Yes, the goal has been achieved. But really, the climax is not when you've achieved your goal. It's when you're speeding toward the finish line, right? I think about there's the old song about John Henry, right? It's about the steel driver John Henry, and there's a line in the song. There's one of the verses to the song which I really like because it kind of captures the essence of speeding towards your goal. Captain said to John Henry, "What is that storm I hear?" John Henry, he said, "That ain't no storm, Captain. That's just my hammer in the air." Right? When the hammer is coming down at full speed, right? And you are rushing towards your goal and it's pounding and the storm. I mean, that is the moment, right? And that can be the most satisfying moment is not when you've reached your goal. It's when you are rushing toward the finish line. I used to run cross country when I was in junior high school, believe it or not. We had a 2-mile race and I was a cross country runner. I was not a very fast runner, I'll be honest, right? I wasn't the fastest kid on the team. But one thing that I noticed was for me, right? You're running a 2-mile race, right? You can't be sprinting the whole time. You got to pace yourself. And so I would pace myself running the 2-mile race, but I always, when I could see the finish line, right? Which sometimes was pretty far ahead, right? We'd be running out in the field and you'd have to run around, the finish line would be pretty far ahead. But once I could see the finish line, I would think I am going to give it all I've got. I am going to give it everything I've got, and I am going to reach that finish line, right? Even if I don't have anything left when I come to it. And I would usually pass 5 or 6 people on my way to the finish line because at that point, I could see the finish line, right? The finish line was ahead of me, and I thought, all right, the finish line is within view. And if I can just speed forward, if I can just endure, if I can just give it everything I've got until I reach the finish line, then I'm done. And so I could see the finish line and I would run. And I would feel all the moisture in my body come up into my chest. And it was like, it would be intense, but I would give it everything I had. And sometimes I would vomit after I crossed the finish line. And I would cross that finish line and I would vomit. I would puke because I had given it everything I got. But that is an important thing because some people don't know how to give it everything they've got, right? And I had coaches who would get frustrated with me. They'd say, "Why are you able to, as soon as you see the finish line, you go so much faster? You need to pick up the pace throughout the race." Well, that's just not how my mind works, right? I mean, I could make myself run and pace myself, but once I saw the finish line, I knew I only had so much further to go, and so I could then give it everything. I could just throw all the coal onto the fire and go full speed ahead. And that's just how I operate. It's not how everyone operates. Some people, it doesn't work that way, right? Other people, but when I could see that finish line, then suddenly I was able to increase my level of physical endurance because I could see the finish line, right? And that's an important thing as well. And that moment, that's the best part of the race. Once it's over, right? Then I'm at the end of the race, I'm puking, I'm catching my breath. That's not as fun. But that moment, even though you're giving your hardest sacrifice, right? As you're running towards that finish line, and it hurts, and all the moisture in your body is up there, and everything within you is just saying, "Oh my God," but you're just giving it all you have. That is the most glorious moment. It's not when you cross the finish line. It's when you're on the verge of crossing the finish line. It is the home stretch that is the most satisfying, right? That is the most satisfying part of the race. The captain said to John Henry, "What is that storm I hear?" He said, John Henry said, "That ain't no storm, Captain. That is just my hammer in the air." That is the most satisfying part of the race. When you are on the verge of ending the race and you are throwing everything you have into it and you are just going full speed ahead with everything you've got, that is the best part of the race. It really is. And if you look at your life, the best moments in your life are not when you've achieved, it's when you're struggling, when you're on the brink of achieving, when you're pushing yourself to achieve that goal that you think you can achieve, but it's going to take a lot out of you. It's not satisfying to win easily, right? If you play a soccer game and you beat the other team 15-0, is that satisfying? No. But if you play a soccer game and you beat the other team 4-3, that is very satisfying, right? And you will find in your life, the times in your life when you are most happy are the times in your life when you are speeding towards the finish line with everything you've got. Those are the satisfying moments in your life. Those are the times in your life where you feel really alive. Those are the moments in your life when you feel powerful and you feel that you are fulfilling yourself, when you are challenging yourself, when the finish line is just ahead and you are giving it everything you got to get to that finish line. That is what happiness is. It is the thrill of battle. And you know, I mean, we don't want to think about war and violence and killing. I mean, that's an awful thing. But it is that when you are in conflict with the world around you and challenging yourself and pulling more strength out of yourself, when you are forcing yourself to cross that finish line with all you've got, that is when you will achieve the most in your life. Those are the moments when you're achieving the most. Those are the moments when the best comes out of you, and not just athletically, but spiritually. Those are the moments where you will impress yourself with how kind you will be to other people. Those are the moments when you will impress yourself with how much wisdom comes out of your mouth. You are the smartest. You are the most caring and compassionate. You are the most dedicated when you are trying to cross that finish line. That is the spiritual and physical and intellectual height of human existence, is that moment where you are giving it all you've got to achieve the achievable goal. All right? When you are throwing your body and your mind and everything you have into a mission and you are losing yourself in that mission, that is where you were meant to be. I believe that is the moment that God created us for. When we are in that state of existence, when we are giving everything we've got and putting it all on the line and lunging toward the finish line, that is when you will blow your mind. When you are in that position in life, when you are in that position in life, you will do amazing things. You will be there for people. You will outperform your own expectations. You will do amazing things in that state of being.